Good evening. Today I'll be presenting my Week 9 FOI comprehensive research paper. My paper my paper analyzes how general aviation, or GA, has changed over the last 50 years and critically examines the evolution of flight instruction safety. Here's an abstract of my paper, and here we are. Statistically, general aviation is a largely stable, mature sector. We saw a peak in active aircraft in the early early 1980s, late 1970s. But since the numbers have generally leveled off, this stability means our focus must be on targeted safety improvements within the existing structure. When we analyze accident data for instructional flights, a clear, persistent trend emerges: loss of control, or LOC as I put in here. Loss of control is the number one accident factor. Cru- Crucially, the NTSB confirms that the overwhelming cause is human error, poor aircraft handling, and lack of critical decision making, but mostly human error, which tends to be the cause for most issues. The data has driven fundamental shifts in how we teach. 50 years ago, instruction was procedural and heavily focused on rote memorization. Today, it's heavily influenced by scenario-based learning centric models that prioritize cognitive skills. The core of this change is formal integration of aeronautical decision making, or AMD, ADM, and proactive risk management. So we know how to counteract the risk before it even happens, make it so it doesn't happen at all. To illustrate the gap between theory and practice, I examined a fatal NTSB report accident. The accident case was CEN 24 LA 226. This accident was the cause of being reactive to a accident and not proactive. But we've changed flight instruction extremely extremely due to the fact that we need to be proactive to situations, and it's not possible to memorize everything. You can be the greatest pilot in the world, but it's not possible to memorize anything. That's just not how the human mind works. So that's why we come up with these scenario-based trainings, because in said scenario-based trainings, you not only are you reacting, not only are you learning how to react when this occurs, but you're also doing what's possible to prevent it. Yes, we're supposed to counteract being reactive to these issues and be proactive so it doesn't happen, but we also need to know how, because we can be as proactive as we can be as proactive as possible, but it's still possible that said issue can arise. So we need to know how to react to said issue. That's why we have our scenario-based training, and we simulate said scenarios. Now, the NTSB report I was talking about is the NTSB report determines that the flight instructor failed to apply carburetor heat on a basic procedure. The procedure was a single engine out, and they were at a altitude where they were very prone to carburetor icing, and the instructor failed to do the first step of risk management, not identifying the icing, and they failed also step 3, how to mitigate said risk, and it caused a fatal off-airport crash. From a learning theory perspective, this error highlights a need for better teaching techniques. Drill and practice should have been used like a lot. It shows that even the smallest things can lead to deadly consequences. Had he turned on his carburetor heat, it could have been prevented. Very similarly, how we're supposed to switch our fuel tanks every 30 minutes. It's simple things that could lead to very, very big outcomes. But in conclusion, while general aviation has stabilized statistically, the safety flight is now purely it's just now part of us learning general aviation. Scenario-based training is a very important part now, and it is in every instructor needs to be teaching it and should be teaching it to ensure students develop insight rather than just memorizing procedures. Being proactive can almost guarantee your safety every time from the beginning of every flight. Here are my references, and that is all I have to share. Thank you for listening.